Argentina has been lending a helping hand to football-playing nations throughout the Caribbean. Their latest gesture comes in the form of a memorandum of understanding between the Argentine Football Association and the University of the West Indies. The MOU has been in the works for 2 years. It will facilitate an exchange of skills and competencies with the main goal of improving the practice, organization, and management of football in the region. Speaking at the signing ceremony at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex in Barbados, Argentina's ambassador to Barbados, Gustavo Pandiani, and Pro Vice Chancellor of the UWI Caval campus, Udin Barito, hailed the initiative. Joining us on Skype to discuss the MOU is head coach at the Faculty of Sport at the UWI, Roland Butcher. Roland, of course, a former ODI and Test cricketer with England. Welcome to the SportsMax Zone, Roland. Good to have you.
Great pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. I guess the obvious question to ask is, the 2 years spent exploring this MOU before signing, what is it that was discussed between the parties at that point to bring it to the decision of signing this agreement?
Well, first of all, let me say that this MOU is a fantastic thing for the University of the West Indies and the students that attend the University of the West Indies and the Open Campus. The genesis of this MOU really was in another sport. In actual fact, it really came out of cricket. Last year, the ambassador, he sent me to Argentina to do some cricket development for him because obviously he's very keen on cricket as well. So it was following that, he then invited me to come with him to Boca Juniors for a football camp last December. It also accompanied the Barbados under-17 team who played against the national Argentine under-17 team. So it's in discussions with the ambassador that, we discussed the idea of, the university and the benefits of something like this to the University of the West Indies. So obviously I worked very hard in trying to get that to happen. And I was always looking for a number of years now for a pathway for our footballers. Cricketers have a pathway which was developed into the West Indies side. Footballers, to some degree, really have a problem. In Barbados, the Premier League is the top competition they can get to, and similarly in Jamaica. But what this opportunity does now is really expose these players in the system of the university, that if they really want to be serious footballers, that there are resources available for them, particularly with a World Cup winning team like Argentina, for them to go, to play, to train, etc., etc.
You say benefits, right? Does this mean scholarships will be included as well? What are some of the benefits that the footballers will be reaping?
Well, I think in the future, obviously, scholarships would be the sort of thing. They will obviously get opportunities to go to Argentina. I mean, during the MOU signing, the Argentina ambassador clearly invited the university at this stage to send a combined university side to Argentina. So that is something that is very much on the table right now. And going forward, obviously, in the years to come, there will be great benefits to all the students around the region.
You mentioned, good afternoon, by the way, Roland. You mentioned that a combined university team will be visiting Argentina. But in terms of coaching education as well, how will the Caribbean region benefit from that?
Well, that's all part of the MOU. The exchange of coaches in both directions, coaches coming here, coaches going there within the system. So, people in the university system, as well as students, will also have the opportunity to move their careers forward. And I think it's a great initiative. And I wish I was a young student at the university and not someone perhaps at the end of their career.
Roland, take me through some stages here, because you spoke about the genesis, of course, which was a part of course, the conceptualization stage, and you've been speaking now about implementation. I want to know, from a conceptual perspective, when you sat down with when the UWI sat down with its Argentine partners, what were the stated targets at the end of the MOU to say that, well, at the end of the MOU, we should have X coaches certified or exposed in X number of areas, X number of players who would have been exposed to X level of training? What are those targets that the MOU is intending to achieve over the course of the agreement?
Well, basically, those targets now have got to be set, because the MOU really is the framework to work. An MOU generally is something written, but it has to be made to live. So really the university now has to make this MOU come alive. That will be the job of the Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Man Singh, obviously, who's the Dean of the Faculty of Sport. Obviously, his job now is really to make the MOU live for all the students around the region. Obviously, you know, this started because of my involvement here at KFL, and obviously we started off looking in that area, but it's quickly escalated to the point where it was needed really for the entire university system.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Argentina has a strong, relatively speaking, cricketing history. Some people will be surprised to know that the country does have a strong cricketing history. So, as you said, that this all came about because of cricket originally, I can understand and accept that. But in terms of football, I see this somewhat, Roland, as almost football evangelism. What is it that has convinced the Argentines that this kind of cooperation with this part of the world, countries in this part of the world, and this specific institution, what is it that has drawn them to make this kind of association with us in this part of the world, you think?
Well, George, there's two reasons. You know, personal relationships are very important in anything that you do. And also the ambassador, Gustavo Martinez Pandiani, is a very, very proactive ambassador. He's not an ambassador that sits in the chair and just lives out his time in the region. No, he is so busy, it is unbelievable. He's already done a lot, not just for sport, but he's doing for all other things. I mean, his culture, etc., etc. He's a very busy man. He was a sportsman himself. He was a dean in Argentina. He still plays a lot of football. He plays Masters football here in Barbados. But basically what happened was, as I said, because of our relationship, and he's sending me to Argentina to do football, to do cricket. What we actually did was I did organize with him an MOU with the Barbados Cricket Association. And as that would so happen, the first two players arrived in Barbados yesterday as part of that MOU for a 2-month period where they will be coached, play, and be trained. So like today, they were with the Barbados Pride team at Kensington Oval, which they will spend every morning with the Pride team. They will also be involved with the Centre of Excellence, with the different age groups that we have. And also they will play with one of the local sides in our elite division. So, as I said, cricket is up and running. They have started the process. Now football has just been recently signed. So that has all to be worked out in the future.
Yeah, you know, I'm excited about this, you know, Roland, because I'm thinking now of especially our young coaches getting probably, the ambassador is the ambassador, so he has tremendous links throughout Argentina, getting to spend some time at Boca Juniors, River Plate, San Lorenzo, Independiente, the big footballing powerhouses in Argentina, which happen to be some of the big footballing teams on the continent of South America. The process, though, by which students of the UWI will qualify, Roland, to be a part of the exchange aspect of the MOU. I'm sure that there's an equitable and a system that will stand up to audit then, if for want of a better term, for how coaches can get involved and being confident that they'll be picked on merit and upon their ability, and of course on what they can give back to the university if they get that exposure. I'm on the right track, am I not?
You're absolutely right. I mean, that has to happen, and you know, the coaches will get their opportunities. In terms, let's go back to the players. We've just recently had the UWI Games in Jamaica, and obviously Andrew was part of that as the coach of the Jamaica team. Now, this MOU was signed on Thursday, and as I said, immediately the Argentinian ambassador gave that invitation. So what we did straight away in Jamaica, and you can confirm that we had in Jamaica, we had KFL, we had Mona, we had St. Augustine, we had the Open Campus playing all these different sports, and particularly football. So we asked those coaches to put forward half a dozen of their best players, so that initially we've got a group that we can look at to trial, etc., to make up that team. So that system has already started, and I'd expect that will continue in the future. Now, that would also involve all the coaches in those particular campuses. And I would not be surprised to see someone like Andrew being actually coach of the team.
See, Roland, you are well known as a former English cricketer as well, but what a lot of persons would not know is that you're a UFA licensed coach and you spend time working in Arsenal's youth team and in Reading with one particular Brendan Rodgers. Now I want to ask you, from your experience working in youth setups in England, one of the top powerhouses in global football, what is it that we as Caribbean countries are not doing, or where is it that we're going wrong in terms of our youth development?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, those countries like England, etc., Arsenal, I mean, they do have a huge advantage over the Caribbean. But one thing that they do have is that they do have organization and structure. What I've found in the Caribbean is that we're a little bit hit and miss. There is nothing is done really in a structured way, and in many ways, people do it as they please. I mean, you'll be pleased to know, Andrew, that actually in September, I'm launching a coaching manual, which is being done by the UWI Press, called Achieving Excellence Caribbean Soccer Coaching Manual, which really is the first attempt to lay out a structure that, say, primary schools, secondary schools, universities, clubs, etc., can follow all the way through into developing players. What we tend to do in the Caribbean is, particularly a lot of the coaches, they turn up at the training session and there is like, what should we do today? And they do what they feel like they're doing. So it has no relationship with what they did previously or what they're going to do in the future. So I think what we need to do around the region is to get our coaches operating in a structured way, following a program. If they don't get the full benefit out of something, don't move on to something else. Stay with that until they're actually getting. So I think organization is something that the big countries have over us, and the structure.
Excellent. Roland, we have to call time on this discussion, but thank you for your time, and I'm really excited that academia, the UWI, which has put academia on the map insofar as this part of the world is concerned, is leading this effort and is making a link with one of the hotbeds of world football, South America, Argentina to be precise, and I look forward to great things.
Great pleasure. Thank you.
Excellent. Roland Butcher there, the first black West Indian to play ODI cricket for England, the first black West Indian to play Test cricket for England, and yeah, he was known. Let me put it this way, when Roland Butcher was at the crease, you weren't bored.
Butchered.
Yeah, there you go. Excellent.
I think it's a really good initiative with UWI and Argentina. So much for the students at UWI to look forward to, and Argentina is known for excellence, so we will definitely benefit from it.
Sure. Yep. Seminars, sports medicine, anti-doping policies, football facilities, logistics, equipment, scholarships and exchange programs. And look, when things like these come about, we tend to want them to be the panacea, to solve everything, to cure everything. What I'd like to see, and I'm guilty of being one of those sometimes, anything that can help the region to shape and develop a footballing philosophy, Jamaica's philosophy, TNT's philosophy. You want, and Dennis Lawrence, the former TNT coach, said this to me, that he wants when Trinidad and Tobago are playing and you turn on the TV, there's no caption. You can look at the style and say, that's TNT. Yeah. I want that to happen for Jamaica, for Barbados, for wherever. And when we go to the people who can help us to shape that philosophy, it's never a bad thing. So kudos to UWI and all the best in this effort.